That doesn't sound like Mario. In 2018, the announcement of a new Super Mario Bros. Movie going into production was largely met with confused curiosity. There hadn't been much interest in a Super Mario Bros. Movie since, well, that last Super Mario Bros. Movie. Considering how that one turned out, that's no real surprise. 4 years after that announcement, we finally got our first look at what they've been working on. At a glance, it looks promising. They nailed the visuals. It looks like Super Mario Bros. And better than Super Mario Bros. Has ever been rendered before. With Illumination Entertainment tackling animation duties, that isn't much of a surprise. No matter what you think of the studio's films overall, they do look good, and this looks more visually impressive than anything they've made yet. But movies aren't just pretty pictures. Matthew Fogel handles script duties. His credits include The Lego Movie 2 and Illumination Entertainment's Minions: The Rise of Gru. If you're a fan of those movies, then this is good news. I'm not really a fan, but they didn't suck. Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic were tapped to direct. They're most well known for creating the popular Teen Titans Go series, a slapstick, self-aware, and flat-out absurd take on the teenage superhero group. I've watched and enjoyed my fair share of episodes, so I'm not going to complain, but I doubt the Super Mario Bros. Movie is going to play very much like an episode of Teen Titans Go, and I don't want it to. But those names are a big clue about what we should be expecting from this movie. Mario games do have a wacky sense of humor, and these creators should be able to capture that. Now, whether or not they'll be able to capture the spirit of Super Mario Bros. While telling a story worth paying attention to is a question only time can answer. Either way, it sounds like Nintendo is pretty hands-on with the production, as they tend to be with their properties. Series creator Shigeru Miyamoto even had some level of involvement and has a producer credit. I'd assume that's more a sign of respect than the actual role he filled, but it isn't a bad sign. After wondering why this was even a thing for the past 4 years, it's kind of looking like it has potential. The trailer was mostly one long gag about the impotence of the lovable penguins from Super Mario 64 in the face of a conquering Bowser.
That is but a taste of our fury. Do you yield? I do not.
Mario doesn't appear until the end of the trailer, and he does look like Mario. He seems to have found himself in the Mushroom Kingdom and is greeted by a high-strung Toad before they head off on what I assume will be an adventure that involves rescuing Princess Peach from a castle. It's really all anyone could expect from a trailer for a Super Mario Bros. Movie. There's just one noticeable detail that's become a bit of a sticking point. Mario's voice. The whole voice cast is kind of wild on paper. It looks like they picked actors' names out of a hat at random. I mean, Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong? If he's voicing a Kong, Funky Kong would have been the obvious choice, but the topper was definitely Chris Pratt as Mario. Everyone was scratching their head at that announcement, myself included. The only thing I've been wondering since the announcement was how he'd sound. Mario doesn't have much depth. He's a chubby Italian plumber whose claim to fame is jumping, saving a chronically kidnapped princess, and his energetic high-pitched voice. One that's been performed largely, if not exclusively, by the same actor since the release of the Super Mario Bros. Pinball machine in 1992. The funny thing about that is the man who's voiced Mario for the past 30 years is listed in the film's credits. Now, I might not have been the most excited to listen to Charles Martinet do his Mario voice for 2 hours.
It's a me, Mario! Woohoo! Let's go! Okie dokie! Ow, 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 ow.
That would probably become grating after the novelty wore off, but now we'll never find out. And I'm honestly still a little peeved they didn't cast Jaleel White to voice Sonic in those movies too. So I get not casting Martinet, but I do not get casting Pratt. I personally never understood the practice of inflating a film's budget by casting A-list celebs that the audience will never see on screen. Do people pay to see animated movies because celebrities voice the characters? That was never a factor for me. We did get to hear 2 lines from Mario in the trailer. The first sounds pretty much like Chris Pratt.
What is this place?
But the second line sounds like he's affecting a New Yorkish accent, but more like he's channeling Lou Albano from the Super Mario Bros. Super Show than any currently recognizable version of the character.
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come!
Of course, this is a bit of a nitpick. The voice isn't going to be a deal breaker for me and shouldn't be for anyone else. And it's not like this is the first Nintendo property to get a film adaptation where the voice of an iconic character didn't resemble their video game counterpart. Detective Pikachu had Ryan Reynolds voicing Pikachu, and that was arguably the best video game movie ever made. It's just hard not to notice. As flat as a character as Mario is, his voice is very recognizable, and Mario not sounding like Mario in the first Mario movie in 30 years isn't putting your best foot forward, but we've suffered through worse.
got a feeling we're not in Brooklyn no more.
The trailer showed promise, and I am more interested in seeing the movie than I was before it came out, so mission accomplished.